Have you ever had like a crazy intense dream that's like scary and makes you anxious, and you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that was just a dream, only to find out that no, actually coronavirus is really real and wreaking havoc on your life? Because that's what my life has been like for the last couple of days. So here's what's true. This is gonna end. This is gonna be a crazy story that we tell our kids one day of this time when there was this global pandemic. This is gonna end. And the question that I have for you is, what story do you want to tell your kids? What story do you want to tell the people in your life about how you responded to this crisis? Because how we respond shows what we value. So, do you want to be telling a story of how you hoarded everything, that you could find, and that you're like a doomsday prepper? Do you want to tell the story that you buried your head in the ground and just like went like la la until like it all passed and pretended it wasn't that big of a deal? Do you want to be somebody who is just like, I'm just going to focus on me and my family and getting us through these next couple of weeks? That's where I tend to gravitate. Or do you want to be somebody who's able to say, I leveraged this as an opportunity to love and care for people through the power of community? In case you're wondering, the answer is D. So here's a story that I want told about you and me. Mosaic activated its leaders, and those leaders pushed through their personal fears and personal preference. They pushed through their exhaustion, because you see, the Mosaic leaders had just finished their first ever identity campaign, and so they were tired. But after spending 6 weeks of helping people root their identity in Christ, they put their money where their mouth was, and they led. They said that because I'm a child of God, I have nothing to fear. I can be bold and I can be full of purpose. In such a time as this, I will go first, and I will make it clear that in the midst of chaos, we will not cancel community. We will not cancel community. We won't do it. So here's my ask, and it is a big one. My ask is that even if you guys had said you're going to be done, that you continue meeting as a group for the next 6 weeks. That you would continue meeting as a group for the next 6 weeks. And I know life is up in the air. I am also trying to figure out who's going to watch my kids on Monday, because we're both working parents. I know a lot of you are in the service industry, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay bills if people stop going out. I know that some of you have compromised immune systems and respiratory issues. I know a lot of us have got fear making our necks prickle up, and we're trying to be brave, but the collective hysteria is making choosing courage all the more difficult. Me too, man, me too. This is probably the biggest ask God has made of us as the leaders of our church, to lead through this storm when we ourselves have so many questions. I have so many questions, right? But we have a chance right now, guys. We have a chance. This is like a once in a generation opportunity. I believe that we have the chance to stabilize people on the rock, to teach them that if they are rooted and dug deep into the rock of our God, that Jesus is over it all, and they can stand firm over it all. All right. So let me be real, because we don't talk about this a lot. This is what's true. Darkness is not slowing down. Darkness feeds on fear. Darkness is in pursuit, but so is our God. So is our God, and his perfect love is going to cast out this fear. So I will not stop pursuing God's lost kids. You will not stop pursuing God's lost kids. You were made a leader of this church because you are passionate about seeing our lost brothers and sisters come home. You will not stop pursuing God's lost kids in the midst of this. We have gained too much ground. We've gained too much ground in the last 6 weeks to give it up. Guys, we baptized 7 people this morning. We baptized 7 people this morning, and that is 19 people over the course of the last 3 weeks of the identity journey. We are not slowing down. We are not going to stop pushing. We are not going to give an inch of the ground we have taken, because we will not cancel community. Can you tell I care about this? Right? So here's some nitty gritty. I want you to text or email your group today saying, hey, I'm down to meet if you are. For as long as it's safe, for as long as it's safe, continue meeting in houses or in public spaces. My group, as of today, is going to be meeting at Hysteria. As of the time of this recording, we're still being encouraged to go and patronize businesses. This is a very practical way to care for our towns and our cities. If you're practicing social distancing right now or you're self-quarantining, great. Meet virtually. Use Zoom, Google Meet, Talkio, Skype, House Party, whatever. The options are endless, okay? Meet virtually. That's what Nick and his group is going to be doing. We have created an evergreen sermon review discussion guide, and so you don't have to prep a new curriculum each week. All you do is watch the sermon and read the guide. So simple. It's so plug and play. And the wins from these groups is that we are connecting with one another, sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, the mundane, that we are caring for one another, right? Like if we're not in groups, how are we supposed to know if there's a need? And that we're praying for one another, because there's power in that, and we're going to harness that in this time. Now, let's say you have one of those jobs that make it so you genuinely cannot lead a group right now. I get that. Do the work of equipping somebody else in your group to do that. Give them the sermon review guide, give them whatever platform you were going to use, Zoom, whatever, and have them lead the group instead. Now, let's say you weren't leading a group this past semester and you're like, why was I included on this video? Because I want you to start leading. We're launching signups tomorrow for new groups. We're going to be launching new groups. So I want you to lead for the next 6 weeks. Send me the day and the time that you can host your group. Let me know if it's going to be virtual or in person, and I will do the work of uploading it to the website. I just need the day and time from you to lead for the next 6 weeks, and then invite people to join your group. Invite people to be a part of it. They have nothing else going on, and people's capacity for Netflix is only so far. Will only go so far. Now I've got 2 verses for us real quick to wrap us up. It's Colossians 3:12. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, clothe yourselves in tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. That Warren Buffett quote that's been going around, when the tide goes out, you'll see who's wearing clothes. I love that. Guys, the tide is going out. What are you wearing? Are you clothed in kindness and tender-hearted mercy? Are you clothed in gentleness and patience? If you're not, put it on. We have the opportunity right here, right now. I'm handing it to you to do this, to live out this verse. Lead. And finally, Hebrews 10:23-25. Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together. Let's not neglect meeting together, as some people do, and encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. You are the answer to the question, how is Mosaic going to love well in this season of uncertainty? You are the answer. Be the leader God is calling you to be, and leave behind a story you can be proud of, knowing that you played a vital role in God redeeming a situation that darkness intended for evil, but our God will work for good. Be a part of that.